All right, this is not your typical aircraft. This is a VL3 from JMB. Let's ask some questions and then let's get this beauty up in the air. Let's go.
Tell me all about the VL3. What's the airplane all about?
For me, it's the best single-engine piston two-seater on the market. It's reliable, it's fast. You can have a fast cruise, but also an eco cruise. Like, for example, to give you some numbers, if you want to cruise up to 5-6 hours, you still have a cruise speed of 150 knots plus airspeed. If you want to be a little bit quicker, you can go up to 185, 190 if you go over flight level 100. And then you have around 4 hours in endurance with your fuel.
So it's an high performance airplane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So who is it meant for? Is it for beginners? Is it for training purposes? Is it for like cruises? Like what's it made for?
Yeah. So the VL3s, they're a little bit more for advanced people, but there's ways to start with less powerful models. So for the US market, we actually have like an LSA version that has a little bit bigger wings. It's a little bit more stable. Here in Europe, we start with 912 VL3, sometimes fixed gear, sometimes RG. We have fantastic training facilities, both in the Czech Republic and out in Belgium. And that's the way you can progress. So even let's say you're a non-pilot, I'd say about 60% of all our customers are actually non-pilots, and they're going straight into the 915. And it's all about the training. So if they train on their airplane when they buy it, they're used to it, and they can be safe for it. With every sale, we do include conversion training. We include standard just 5 hours of training, which is okay for people coming in from, like a Cirrus or like a Cessna TTX who are used to high performance airplanes. If you're not used to this kind of environment, you're going to need to train a little bit longer. So, but of course, we're not just going to hand you the keys and say goodbye. We're going to make sure to progress with you and make sure that you're going to be safe to fly the airplane.
If it's about high performance airplanes, a lot of people say, especially in stall characteristics or, the last turn based to final, how is the the envelope there, and how is it behaving in that kind of situations, especially for the pilots who maybe say, I've been used to, small airplane, maybe Cessna 172 or something. How would you say it compares, or, how does the envelope fit to these kind of persons?
It's still a very safe envelope. The stall speed, for example, is 44 knots, what makes it really, really good. Of course, we focus on everything in training. It's a high-performance aircraft, but you get really, really specific training. You do stalls in the training. Also, the 915 has the wing fences, you saw already before. This makes the stall behave way, way better. We just have a normal stall with a buffer on the stake, nose drops down, and then you grab some speed. Just, for me, it's in the same line of a Cessna or a Beach Bonanza, if you speak about stalls.
And if I could add to that, so we really focus on like stall prevention. We follow a regulation from EASA called ELOS, which is equivalent level of safety. And what this means is on your Garmin G3X, you have both visual and audible warning when you're increasing like close to a stall, and this is based on angle of attack. In addition to that, if you look behind us, you'll see stall strips on the airplane. So this helps with also having more control before a stall develops. And another kind of safety feature of the plane is aerodynamic induced buffeting on the control stick. So before you enter a stall, you have ample amounts of warning. Even if your headset is broken or you don't have a headset, you can hear it screaming at you. And this also goes for like the landing gear. This plane just is so heavily equipped with safety features to prevent things from happening. With the landing gear, again, you have both visual and audible warning when you're approaching the airport. If your flaps are down and your gear is not down, it's screaming at you. It's telling you not to land.
That's awesome. When we're talking about the landing gear, most or a lot of, especially flying schools are saying, landing gear is very important, the durability of it. It's a retract airplane. Is there a version without retraction? And if not, or, how durable is it, especially for landings, maybe for beginners? How is that working on this airframe?
So both versions, both the retractable gear and the fixed gear version, they actually use the same gear. There's just an additional kind of hydraulic pump and hydraulic piece, I guess you could say, that's in there that separates it. This airplane is obviously built for Europe, where it's our biggest market at the moment. So most of the fields we land in are grass fields or Grass, actually, yeah. So not a lot of cement. It's very rare. It's very rare that we can, land on a concrete airport here. But so it's designed to be able to land on grass field. They take the planes to Africa. We've flown, Jorn and I, we've flown in Australia together on gravel strips and dirt strips, and we've seen no performance issues. Of course, it's not a bush plane, so there's limitations to that. But we do offer kind of different props as well. We're not so concerned with the gear, but more with the clearance from the prop from the ground. So if you're going to be landing and taking off on grass strips constantly or gravel strips, I would say don't go with a 3-blade wood comp, go with a 4-blade Duke. It's going to be the shortest prop, offer you the biggest ground clearance.
Yeah. Okay, it sounds good. So in terms of performance-wise, you already said some of the numbers. What's the fuel burn? Depending on what kind of levels you are. So what can we expect there? Because that's also it's very important to some owners. How much, especially in these times. How's it looking on that side?
If you go, we will start with the max cruise, because if we count on 185 knots, you have around 35 liter, or if I'm right, 9.1 gallon.
With this engine, right? With the 915.
915, yes. Yeah. If you reduce to 150, 155 knots, we call this the eco cruise, then you will burn around 25, 27 liter an hour. For the calculation gallons, we go to Lucas. Yeah. he's the US pilot.
So I say we're two different types of pilots. He's the kind of guy who wants to just go fast, full power all the time. I'm the more like, let's get it to 75%, trim the RPMs, and let's get it to cruise. And so this way, the best setting, in my opinion, is 170 knots at 7.2 gallons an hour. So at this point, you have, excellent range, good cruise speed. You can stay up in the plane for around 5 hours, if not a little bit longer. And if you want to go the max cruise speed, we're talking about above 12,000 feet. You can expect speeds of over 180 knots. And you're looking at a range of about 3 hours plus 45-minute reserve. So there it will depend heavily on, density, altitude to see how fast you can actually get. But the best average is 170 knots, 7.2 gallons an hour. And just to add on top of that, the nice thing about the VL3, it's a plane that you can either manage. And what I mean by that is you take off, close the gear, autopilot, cruise altitude, contact ATC, good to go. Or it's a plane you can just come here and do demos and play around with. And it's not going to cost you, hundreds of euros an hour just to fly.
Yeah. If we're talking about euros to fly anyways, now we know the gallons or the liters per hour, which is very important to people. How much is generally, in terms of, if you think of all-in costs for the plane, what would you expect for a typical owner who flies maybe, 200 hours a year or so? Like, where's the cost pretty much going to be around?
Definitely. So before the increase of fuel prices and the cost of energies, we were looking at about 35 euros an hour, plus or minus. And this is with reserve for a new engine and not for a rebuild engine. So it's really, really low compared to your, Continental, Lycomings, but that's road tax. We live and swear by road tax. We don't fly anything else.
Yeah. All right. So that's it's actually very, very affordable. Also to fly it for a longer time. In terms of the airframe design, is it all composite? Like what's it built of, and how's the loads? In terms of structural loads, how can it handle that kind of stuff?
It's a mix of glass fiber, Kevlar, and carbon. There's the sparks are with carbon. For example, the cabin here, the sit position is in Kevlar, and the difference between the carbon and the Kevlar, if you have an accident with carbon, it splits in millions of pieces. The Kevlar stays in his pieces, you lose the structure, but you will not get the damage from the crash because the carbon parts moving around. There is really
a safety mechanism as well.
They really calculate the safety. Also with the caps, it's the same story as we go to series. Yeah. You have always, in worst case, a backup plan with the caps. You can pull the caps and you get safely off of the ground. We have a little joke about it. If you pull the caps, you just do like this. You call your insurance company and you order a new plane.
Yeah. Speaking about the caps, one nice thing about the VL3, it's all on the outside. Like we can't even actually see where the lines are coming from. It's something, if you visit the factory and you go through,
you would see where it goes.
Exactly. Yeah. You'll see the anchor points and where it kind of cuts out from. And it's this area on the outside. So unlike other manufacturers, it's all outside of the cabin. So you don't have any wires or anything pulling in through the inside. So no need to duck, cover your head, just pull the...
Wow,
pull,
it comes out right here?
Exactly. Out in the front, all the cords rip on the outside of the plane.
Wow, cool. That's awesome. If you say, a facility like this would use it, is it rugged enough to keep up junior pilots, who have hard landings? Would that be some use case, or would you recommend another model, not this one, but maybe another one in the lineup?
for flight training, the best example is the brother of Jean-Marie. He is a flight school in Belgium. They are using, I think for 10 years, the fixed gear version of the VL3, the 912, with fixed prop, fixed gear. This is the first step to go like from zero to become a pilot. But for next step plane, once you get a license, I would highly recommend this plane because you're capable of flying slow. And with all the features, the autopilot, you can fly slower. There is an engine management system inside that makes it easy to fly. You just need a proper training, around 5 to maximum 10 hours, and you're good to go because it's not a difficult plane. It's just you have a lot of extras that you will need to manage.
Then last question from my side is in terms of avionics and that what's kind of built in or what's the options there? I mean, some people, prefer the glass cockpits. Some of them prefer like the old school round instruments. What's the options here and what would you guys recommend?
So right now in the base price, we include Garmin G3X, trig radio, trig transponder, all nav lights, strobe lights. Everything you need to fly and legally fly is included in the base price, including the luxury interior, the luxury designs. They're all in the base price. If you want to go a step further, then we have different price packages for exclusive designs or customized designs, etc. We don't offer any kind of steam gauges. It's not the direction we want to go. Just the safety improvements and even lightweight design of modern avionics is something that we have to be very careful with because we're still in the UL category here in Europe, which means we're limited to 600 kilos. So we have to be careful what we put into these planes. If it's up to us, we would do a panel like we have here, where we have 2 Garmin G3Xs, GTN 750, another trig backup radio, a trig transponder, cargo door, ELT, all the bells and whistles. Autopilot, of course.
Yeah.
See, that's actually also standard in the base price is Autopilot.
Really?
Which is fantastic, except if you're German. But hopefully those rules will be changing and they will allow Autopilot soon.
So now we heard a lot. It's an awesome airplane. It's fast, it's modern, it's safe, it is durable. What's the price point between like maybe a starting model and this model? Because this looks like it'd be a very high-end model.
Absolutely. So starting with the 912, which is the 100 horsepower version. So even out of the 100 horsepower version, you're going to get about 145, sometimes up to 150 knots, depending if it's cold outside. With the options we mentioned before, so Autopilot, Garmin G3X, nice design, luxury interior, all the lights, you're going to be looking at about 200,000 euros. If you want to move up then to the 915 IS, you're looking at 248,000 for the base price. The way we have it equipped here with the GTN 750 and the 2 Garmins and custom design, we're closer to that 300,000 euro mark.
Okay, awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
All right, then I'm looking forward to seeing this thing fly.
Yeah, you will. Stockwell, traffic, Triple Charlie, taxiing out to the active. We'll do a quick run up. Parking brake set, 3,200 RPM. Can switch off alpha line.
Just down?
Yeah. Okay, engine instruments will switch off. 1 second.
Yeah, they're off.
Okay, we have the warning light, switch it on. Now we have to wait until the warning light is gone. Okay, lane B. Same procedure.
Waiting till they switch off.
Yeah.
Charlie, is pilot full power correct?
Okay, fuel pump 1 is running, 2 is off. We have a stable pressure. Fuel pump 1 is off, 2 is on, and we have a stable pressure. Okay, we go 4,500 for the prop test. Okay, idle. Capsize alive from 500 feet.
Do we need any flaps? Is it 15?
We will do flap takeoff. This is the short field version.
Okay.
There's flaps with 37 degrees. And transponder on out. Cabin is locked. Seatbelts. Your seatbelt is fine.
That's
left
fine.
is up, right is down, right is up, left is down. Up is up, and down is down. Controls full and correct. Okay, and we have 1015.
What's the speed that you rotate? What's the speed that we climb out?
Around 50 knots we will do the rotation. Climb speed will be 85 knots, 90
85 knots.
Yeah. That's like max
Okay,
climb speed. Ready?
Ready when you are.
Let's go. Power is set. Airspeed is alive. Positive rate. Gear up. Up slightly up.
Wow, that has power.
Units, gear up and locked. Landing light off. Look for the other traffic.
I'll see it. It's right in front of us.
Yeah, he's turning. Very good then. The limit data today 4,500. This is our target altitude. Target altitude 0.
Echo 4. Oscar 0 London 2 is the base.
See the traffic?
We're already over the traffic.
Okay.
No vector anymore. Triple Charlie, Whiskey 3 2000.
That thing is fast.
It's nice to have power, eh?
Yeah, it has a lot of power. Yeah.
After we reach this altitude, or rather than going to a cruise climb 120, 130 knots, you still have 700 to 800 feet a minute, depending on the weight you have.
Yeah.
But it's still really good.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense because your angle now is really high. You can't see barely in front of you.
Yeah.
I'd rather see also a little bit off front of the nose what's coming in.
Yeah.
Because it's still VFR.
Makes sense, yeah.
And we fly a lot of times in the covert eco airspace.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our cruising altitude today. We'll go to this area. Here it's a little bit.
Yeah, it looks nice here.
A good area for maneuvering.
Yeah.
Not too many houses.
Yeah, I mean it's not so loud, this airplane. I feel it's not that loud, is it?
It's really comfortable. This is because of the IS.
And it's also so smooth. Like it's like you have almost no vibration.
Yeah, it's really comfortable. I agree. Okay.
What's the typical cruise speed that you would see here at 4,500?
160 knots.
160 knots, and then we would burn around.
Then we will burn around 35 liters.
35 liters. Yeah.
They have now 35.4.
Yeah.
And he's still aiming some speeds. We have now 158, 159.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
That's the low level cruise speed.
Yeah. So if you go higher up, of course, you will see much better cruise speed.
Yeah. If you go over 10,000 feet, easily 185, 190. Okay, let's make a turn to the right. Side is clear.
Okay, got Charlie is a Golf sogar. Så främst i flyg nu har jag väntat till plattformen med.
You see how stable the plane is?
Yeah.
This is Hardik Blues Cooper, oder?
It's super easy to fly.
Yeah.
You go to the left, and even it puts on the stickers. You can do it with one finger.
Yeah.
And we're again in our turn.
And it just stays there.
Yeah.
Do you use any like rudder controls in when you go into the
1 inch, 2 inch of rudder?
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Wow.
I will do the maneuvering a little bit slower now and show you the stability on slower speed.
Yeah.
We will do the same maneuvering at like 90, between 90 and 100 knots.
Okay.
But you see, it's the same if I trim out my plane.
Yeah.
Go to the left. And it's still light. Maneuverable.
Very light, yeah.
It's super easy. If you want, we can demonstrate a stall.
Yes, that would be awesome.
I will go back in the direction of the wind, 290 degrees, drop fully forward, takeoff position for the trim. You will see the AOA showing up. This is a good...
So it's right there, right? Or
yeah, it will come here. It's a really good reminder in front of everything. If you go to a critical angle, it will remind you already with the colors. And then
and that does also happen when you're in a turn?
Yeah. Okay. And every phase of the flight you have this.
Yeah.
So here we have the stall. Nice little buffer on the stick.
Yeah.
And we grab some speed.
And we're out.
We fly with our wings, thus we get the speed by our wings.
Yeah.
80, 90 knots, gently, a little bit of power, and we recover from the stall.
That's not bad at all.
Not difficult, eh?
No.
I will show you the SmartGlide. Let's say we have an emergency situation, prop fully fine. SmartGlide.
SmartGlide active. Engaging autopilot. No airports within glide range.
Now we're out of the range of an airport.
So what does it do now? It keeps us at the best glide speed?
Best glide, yeah.
And I can still maneuver right and left? Or
So
how is
Autopilot is doing this for you.
Okay. So, but where does it head now? I mean, of course...
It will head now straight forward. If we had an airport in our range, then it would head directly to the nearest airport overhead the field.
Yeah, okay.
And bring you the plane in a perfect condition to make a forced landing.
Yeah.
He's aiming now for the best glide speed, 70 knots.
Okay, so how fast do we descend now? It's 700 feet a minute
Yeah,
or so?
I would say between 500 and 700 feet, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have time.
Yeah, we have a lot of time.
SmartGlide cancelled.
I will give you a little bit of throttle and then it's your plane. It's all yours.
My controls?
Yes, your control.
Oh, it's very light. It's easy.
No.
But you said a little bit of rudder, right? But it doesn't need much rudder.
No, like it's just a detail.
Yeah. See the cards down there?
Ah, yeah, that's cool.
That looks fun.
Yeah.
No, it's like even for that speed, it's very light on the controls. It doesn't even feel like work. No, it's fun to fly too.
And that's the nice thing about this plane. If you want to do a long cruise navigation, it's more than comfortable because of all the equipment we have.
And you said Autopilot is pretty much standard on all the...
That's standard, yeah.
Except for Germany.
Yeah, Germany, it's not allowed to have an Autopilot.
Yeah.
I hope we can convince the German authorities to allow it, because for me it's an extra safety.
Yeah, it is. So if you would say, you know, something busy happens and we need some time, you know, to do navigation, like I just press the level button.
Yeah.
Like without engaging anything, I just press it and
you can do it.
So I'll just do it like this.
And then you release the controls. And he's recovering and he will stay straight and level. And for example, you get really confused, you can now search for the radio of Vienna Info.
Yeah.
118525.
And then just ask them.
Exactly. You tell them, hey, I'm a little bit lost, I don't know where I am. Please, can you identify me on the radar and give me some vector?
And for example, if we say we want to move out of the clouds now, we just turn the heading, or
you press the heading button,
and then just
and then you just turn.
Okay, it's down there now, right?
Yep.
So it says trim down a little bit, so okay, it tells you that.
Dankeschön.
Yeah, that's a really nice feature, because I think especially, you know, when stressy situations come apart, and then this, you know, just like dial it in, have some time to research, do your charts, and then when you're ready, you can continue.
That's one of the reasons we add an Autopilot to the standard configuration of an airplane.
If you go for a cruise somewhere, how many hours do I have at, you know, a typical cruise setting, let's say 75%? How many hours in the air do I have, and what kind of levels would you usually fly?
I will start with my preference. My preferred level is flight level 150.
150. So you would need oxygen on that one.
Exactly.
So you have it on board here, or?
Not in this plane, but on the other plane I have it on board.
Yeah.
Then we cruise 185, 190 knots, that's airspeed.
Yeah.
And we will burn then 35.4.5 liter an hour, or 9.1, 9.2 gallon.
Yeah.
Then you have 3 hours and a half fuel plus reserve.
Okay, so that's, but you get there fast. I mean,
yes, 190, 195 knots.
Yeah,
and the thing is, why I like this level, if I go to this level, or I have zero wind or I have tailwind, but it's 50-50, because you have always, most of the time you have winds at this level, easily 20-30 knots. If you have them in the back, you go quickly to 200 knots, 210.
Yeah.
An example, I flew from Czech Republic to Croatia to the island Malilosny.
Yeah.
I did this flight in 1 hour 45 minutes at 17,000 feet, and I had a tailwind. I got up to 227 knots ground speed.
Wow.
This makes it really awesome, because then it starts to be really, really quick.
Yeah.
Of course, if you have headwinds, then I go a bit lower. You're looking for the best level.
The best level,
like
of
the
course.
average between a good dash and a good ground speed.
Yeah.
From the moment you reduce the speed, then it's just whatever you want to put in the plane from fuel and how far you can get. If you do eco cruise, of course you can go much more far away, because for example 60% of power, they take us only 22 liters an hour.
And we still hear 130 like indicated a true airspeed, and ground speed now of course 150 because we have the wind, but still I mean that's like
that's a good cruise speed. And we have a fantastic engine management system. It's the system of course from Rotax, but if you go to fuel calculation, I put here 40 liters remaining, and then if you go to your map, you can zoom out your map, and you have the ring here. The green ring is without reserve, where we can get with 40 liters of fuel. You can get still in halfway of Croatia, halfway of Germany, Poland, even to Romania.
That's really helpful.
The second line is with reserve.
Yeah.
With this plane, it's super easy to do fuel calculations for a long navigation.
You know when you're safe.
Yes. What I do, I start a little bit reduced, and once I see okay, I'm gonna make it for sure, then I speed up a bit more.
Yeah.
Because you can anticipate really, really well.
Yeah. All right. Now let's see how this thing lands.
Okay. I will take the controls from you.
Yes, your controls.
Stock road traffic. Triple Charlie proceeding to Echo 1, approaching in 1 minute. We have 3,800 descending. 81 knots. Gear coming down. You can see here the little camera.
See if it comes down. Oh, that's useful. If it doesn't come down, is there a way to get it down if it's...
Under your knee.
Oh, there's a pump or...
Manual pump to pump the hydraulic system.
Yeah.
And then you pump up the pressure to get the gear down. Okay, 3 greens under carriage. Fully fine. Landing light on, fuel pumps on. We go with flap 1. And even now you see...
You're still high.
And you see how stable the plane is at 67 knots.
Wow.
It's super easy to... It's a bit more touchy than an average trainer aircraft.
Yeah.
It's more slippery, but once you get proper training and you're used to it...
And you provide that, right? That's what you said yesterday.
And in fact, we provided, the best example now is our dealer for Benelux and France.
Yeah.
He's the brother of Jean-Marie. He has a flight school in Belgium called Amogy. They have a simulator where they can train you for the caps, for spins even, how to react. Proceduring, and then of course they have the flight school with the VL3s, and they have the fixed gear, fixed prop version, and then the advanced VL3 of course, variable pitch with racks.
We're Echo 2 now.
Okay. And Triple Charlie is Echo 2. And in the factory of course we provide also training. We also make like a personally training program that we go to the customer, and me or another guy will stay there for a week, whatever they need the time. We make a price agreement, and we set it up that because some people don't like to be in a flight school because it takes a lot of time. They rather stay 1 week at home, take a holiday, and just go for it. This is also possible in Belgium in the flight school. They can do like whatever you want to do in the training.
Is this the normal approach, angle that you would take?
For me, this is what I like, a little bit steeper than a 3-degree pad. You can do it, of course, the normal one, a flat approach, but I rather this in case of engine failure and make it to the airport. Okay, 3 greens. All set, continue approach.
Nördlich von Echo 1, 1700 Fuß, in die Platzrunde rein. Verstanden, melde Echo 1, Echo 2 Stück aus. Werde Echo 1, Echo 2 melden, Oscar Echo 920.
Smooth. Good job.
You see, we don't need that much runway.
Yeah, it doesn't need much runway.
It's pretty easy to handle it on short trips with obstacles. You saw now with the 3 flaps. How easy it is to get rid of your altitude with a little of power. You keep the climb.
No, I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed about the speed, the climb, how easy it is to fly. I love the autopilot.
It's a good mix of everything.
It's a good mix of everything,
It's a great...
The fuel burn is great. You can have it lower. You can have a lot of endurance. You can be there fast if you want to. But I would say probably you would need oxygen, right? That would be a smart option to take.
For sure in Austria, because most of the time you fly over high mountains here. I would highly recommend you to take oxygen. And the engine is also, the behave is up to 15,000 feet. You can keep your power. Once you go higher, then you reduce a little bit, but you will never feel. It's not so exponential like a 912 when you climb over 905. It's still really, really good.
Thanks a lot for the demo. Thanks a lot for all the info. It was great flying with you.
With pleasure.
Alright, so much for the VL3. I hope you learned something today. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to get answers from JMB. See you in the next video. Over and out.